Okay, hello everyone. Yep, we are here in the peer support in times of crisis webinar organized by the ENIL Youth Network. I don't see yet any attendees, but one is joining, I think. Yeah, Suela is joining. One is here, and I guess, oh, now it's 6. So if we give like 1 or 2 minutes, more and more people will come. So yeah, let's wait. I don't know, a minute or two. Oh, people can join. I see them multiplying. We are already 8. Nice. Meanwhile, maybe I can say who are the panelists today. So first would be Zara Todd from UK. She was a former chair of the ENIL Youth Network, and she is a senior advisor of ENIL, and has a lot of other nice names next to her name. But okay, for now, I think these two are already enough. And after Zara, we have also Fatma, Fatma Bulić from Bosnia. She is a current chair of the ENIL Youth Network, and both of them will talk to us about peer support, about peer counseling, about future ideas. And all this started because we are, as you all know, we are living in unprecedented times. Many people, especially disabled, and not only, but also disabled youth are staying home. And this is very, in some cases, it might be hard. We are, not all of us are used to that. And there is a need to talk, to exchange, to support each other, to exchange knowledge, to exchange, some thoughts. And that's why the youth network thought that it's nice to do something for that. And the first step for that is this webinar today. So before I give the floor to Zara, let me very quickly tell you some very basic housekeeping rules. So everyone is on mute, except the panelists. If you have any questions, you can type on the chat box on raise your hand. And in that case, I might be able to unmute you, or you can just type and we can read your questions. There's a chat box, there's a Q&A and everything. What else is good to tell you before we start? If you have any problem, you can text me, either here in the application or in my email, my Facebook, any way it's easier for you. I want also to let you know that the webinar is recorded and it will be uploaded afterwards, probably not today, but in the beginning of next week on YouTube. So more people and more members of the ENIL Youth Network will be able to watch it and to get an idea about its support. And that's it for now. It should last more or less 1 hour, maybe a bit less. We'll see. Depends also on the interest of the participants and on how everything will work. So I stopped talking. I'm just here to moderate. By the way, my name is Kamil Goungor and I work for ENIL. I forgot the basic. So I'm helping the youth network with the practical stuff. So Zara, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I hope that you are doing okay in these extraordinary times. Peer support is one of the 12 pillars of independent living, and it is crucial for disabled people, particularly in times of uncertainty and crisis like now. Rather than talk at you through what is and isn't peer support, I'm actually going to get everyone to try a new feature of Zoom, and we're going to try and do some brainstorming as a group as to what peer support is. If anyone has any access issues around site, it may be better to put what you want to say in the chat box, and then I can move it on to what will be the whiteboard in the middle. So I'm about to open the whiteboard. Kamil will explain how you can get a virtual pen to be able to write on the whiteboard. And then what I would like you to type is, what is peer support to you? So hopefully everyone can see the screen and can see me writing what is peer support to you. Kamil, can you explain to people how they can get a pen to join in with the whiteboard?
Yes, let's see if it works. So on the top of the screen, you see you should be able to find a green area which says that you are viewing Zara Todd's screen, and next to it you see a black box which says view options. Then you click on this one and you go to the third option, which is annotate. As long as you click annotate, then you have the option to use the different tools and to interact in the screen. So since Zara wants us to write, you need to click text on the black bar. And since you click text, like I did now, you can write. For example, I can write, hello. This is me writing now on Zara's screen. Is this working for everyone?
Brilliant. Yep, I can see hello. If possible, if you could change the colour so that we can tell when it's different people writing, that would be brilliant. So when you manage to write on the screen, if you can write hello to start with, that would be great.
I think we can do it. Let's see. So I can try and do it in green. But I don't see people accessing it, so maybe we need to explain
Oh,
it.
yeah, we've got a hi.
Yeah, no, that was me again. I just changed the content.
I can't because I don't have the actual app. Okay, so for the person that's just put that in the Q&A, if you type your answer in the Q&A, we can put it onto the screen.
Yeah, that's also an option. If it's difficult for you to access the screen itself, just type it and we are here to move it. Just type it on the chat box or the Q&A box or whatever it is here for you.
Yeah, so Nina, if you type what is peer support to you into the question and answer box, I will put it onto the whiteboard for you. Has anyone else got any problems accessing the whiteboard at the moment?
I will maybe tell again how you can access it. So on the top of the screen, above our videos, above our faces, you see a green and a black bar. You choose the black one, the view options, and you go to the third option, which is annotate. And as long as you choose the annotate, you are able to moderate the screen. You can type, but you can also draw. There is different.
So we've got someone has put peer support is discussing with someone in the same situation, sharing information and experience.
Okay, and she says that she doesn't find the third option, the annotate, which, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why it is. Maybe it's only to the hosts of the webinar. Might be also a possibility.
If you can put what your ideas are in the chat box, I will post them into the whiteboard. So we've got peer support is supporting each other from a perspective of an individual experience to manage life with a disability. Do we have any other ideas of what peer support is?
Okay, Marietta says she cannot access it from via smartphone, which is fine, but you can tell us in the chat box, maybe.
Yep.
What is it? So Marietta said peer support is sharing experiences and practices.
Can we copy that into the
Into one box? Let me try.
yeah, got it. Has anyone else got any ideas of what they think peer support is?
I thought it's copied, but it disappeared.
I can see it.
The red one?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, I don't see it, but if you see it, it's okay.
I think from the ideas that we've got so far, there is a similarity in what people are saying around peer support is sharing with someone else ideas and experiences and information. We've got that it's around experiences and practices, and we've got that it's around kind of using your experience and perspective to support other disabled people. All of those are really valid ideas of peer support. Does anyone have any other ideas? Offer, yep. If you put it in the chat box, I will move it onto the screen.
One more. Often you help people who experience something similar with you. And there is one more. Peer support occurs when people provide knowledge, social or practical help to each other.
So
Zara, should I copy them or you?
I think I've got all of them so far.
Okay.
To accompany with purpose. I'm not sure I understand the latest one. So maybe Kamil, you might be able to help me understand this, but I'm going to post it, which is to accompany with purpose someone with a disability.
Maybe Andre would like to explain us what it means, so we are sure we don't misinterpret it. Yes, exactly. Okay, so Zara, it seems that you said it correctly.
Okay, so in that circumstance, I'm not so sure in that accompanying someone might be confusable with a personal assistant, but if you're accompanying them on a journey through part of their life but not necessarily physically, then maybe it depends how you understand the word accompany. One of the really important things that was mentioned at the beginning by one of the people that's taking part in this webinar is that peer support comes from people that share a similar situation or life experience to yourself. So, one of the really important things for the disability community is that it is disabled people supporting one another in order to learn from one another's experiences and so on. Right. So we've got one more idea of what peer support is coming in.
And one also in the Q&A section
Okay.
by Matteo, who said peer support could see as mutual support between persons with same conditions to reach mutual interests to improve category that persons belongs to.
Yeah. So that's all of these are really great examples. I can't copy from the Q&A box.
Yeah, me
If
neither.
possible, could you put it into the chat box, Matteo? So then I can copy it and we can get a record of everyone's views for after this meeting as well.
Let's try to type it. We don't have that much of space in the whiteboard anymore.
Which is good. That was what I was hoping for. So it feels like we all have quite a similar understanding of what peer support is, which means that we can go on to my next question. And my next question is going to be interesting. We'll see how it works on here. So I apologise, I'm about to draw a very wobbly line, I think. So, not so wobbly, good. What I would like people's ideas of is what does good peer support look like? And what does bad peer support look like? So, does anyone have any suggestions for good peer support? Right.
So now we have, it's a bit delayed, so now I just see now the different screen, but it works.
Okay.
So what is good and what is bad peer support?
Yeah. So good peer support is active listening. Okay. So we've then got a suggestion that good peer support is about being coaches and providing motivation rather than being imposed. We've got good peer support is when there's trust and development arises. Any other ideas for good peer support? Good peer support would be if the persons involved understand each other and allow each other to relate through what is common to them, but also respecting each other's differences. Any other ideas about what is good peer support? So good peer support should bring freedom. Yep. Okay, good peer support is sharing experience and learning from both sides. Good peer support is strengthening communication skills. Does anyone else have anything that they want to add for good peer support? I think I would like to add something, which is, oh, yeah, there's someone else got something to add, which is being there for someone who needs it. Yeah. I would like to add that good peer support knows its limitations, so doesn't necessarily try and fix everything or be everything to a person.
I see that our participants today are already quite well aware of peer support logic.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to what does bad peer support look like? And right, I think I'm going to have to make some of the font smaller because we've got so many ideas. Right.
Maybe we can move the line. So
Move the. I'll try. Do you want to try moving the line?
well, I want to erase it, but I cannot erase it. Maybe it's because you did it.
Okay. I think you should be able to.
I'm not able to erase it. Not to
Oh, okay. I'll see if I can move it. Right. So, does anyone have any ideas for what bad peer support looks like? Okay, someone's saying that basically bad peer support is the opposite to all of the good ones. Yep, but that is a little bit lazy, so it's a good idea if we go through what the opposite might look like. So, bad support is not being empathetic or not trying to understand what the real problem is. Bad support is using alcohol and drugs during the support. I think another type of bad peer support might be trying to support someone in something that they haven't asked for your support in. Bad support is imposing one's views too much or not listening.
I'm copying the bad ones.
Thank you. Okay, are there any more ideas for what bad support is? I don't think this is intentionally bad support, but I don't think it's helpful support either. When people try and use peer support to do counselling when we're not trained therapists. Right, in the Q&A, peer. Oh, we've got Okay, no, we haven't got anything on bad support there. Is there anything else anyone wants to say about? Yep. Okay, so bad support or bad peer support is taking advantage of the information you hear and using it in a bad way. I think there's an extension of that, which is bad peer support is probably sharing information with other people when you don't have the consent of the person that you're providing peer support to. Does anyone have anything they want to add for bad peer support? Okay. Thank you so much for doing that, and I'm sorry the technology didn't work brilliantly, but we've got really good lists that can go and be sent out for people in future as well. So that was really useful, even if it didn't go completely smoothly. What I would say is that the reason we did this as a starting point is it's really important that everyone has a common understanding of what peer support is, and that people can identify what is good practice and what they would like to receive and give, and what is not so good practice. I think I'm going to hand over now to Fatima. Thanks, everyone.
So, Fatma, I think you need to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you, Zara, and thank you, Kamil. So first of all, I would like to say hello to you and thank you for taking the time to be a part of this story. Well, I think it would be good to say something about myself as well. My name is Fatma Bulić. I'm 23 years old and I come from Bosnia and Herzegovina. And recently I also become a chair of the ENIL Youth Board. Well, now I think it would be good to start from the beginning. Well, at the beginning, the idea was to form a peer support group and talk with people how they can more easily overcome time spent at home and the time in the period of the virus. Somehow from the beginning, all these people we work with were very happy about idea. And we started to think of the next step in which we can best realize the idea. The first thing was to form the team and hold a webinar, as you can see, as a tool to help us share all details we have. I hope that Zara and Kamil were clear and that you understand the very concept and the philosophy of the peer support. In this way, I would like to invite all of you who are interested, if you want to share your day with someone, if you want to talk, if you have any problem of any other thing that bothers you, please contact us. Our team will be there and we will try together to solve all the problems. somehow I think we can only pass these days if we stick together as one, because after all we are one, and we all go through the difficult period. One good practice from Bosnia and Herzegovina is one amazing group of young people who have been conducting peer support meetings and talk to each other for every day in the previous 3 weeks on their own. They have a lot of good ideas, and they want to expand their knowledge and capacities beyond. So in this way, I ask you to do the same. Just roll the ball and do something useful for ourselves and others. And of course, one other thing is that just I think it's for all of us that never forget that we are not alone in this. There are people who think of everything and who will leave no one behind. I also need to thank you for one more time for being here with us. And now I think it's a good time that if you have some questions and if you want to discuss about some things, please let us know. We are here to answer for everything you want to know, and just that's it for me for now. Thank you.
And just to say that if you think that you would be interested in offering peer support to other disabled people in Europe, get in contact with Kamil after this website and webinar, and we will look to set up a Facebook group or some other kind of mechanism so that we can connect people together.
Okay, so now is the time, as already Fatma said, for the interaction. If you want to ask any question or to say something, you can either type it or raise your hand. I see Simon is raising his hand. Give me a second. Let's see if I can unmute you. Hello, Tom. Unmute. Now I should. Okay. I think now you can speak.
Hello. Can you
Hello.
hear me? Good evening from Georgia. Nice to meet you again. I think it will be interesting to talk briefly about the situation in Georgia. We see that the health system is not ready to work. In a crisis situation, we can't give peer support service for disabled persons because in our country, after virus, public transport stopped working. Disabled persons in real life cannot use some guidelines from World Health Organization. For example, I cannot wear gloves, so we can speak. We haven't experienced to manage such situations. It is terrible to look how world is in a similar situation, and we have not good exceptions. That we must make our cooperation really deep for future initiatives, because I really really want to engage some new idea. We need special guidelines for disabled persons and recommendations for our governments. I presume it must done before autumn because we cannot know how different will futures and our job was very helpful and we must change something.
Thank you for that, Simone. I think that there is, so in the UK, coronavirus is pretty bad at the moment, but the independent living movement in the UK and disabled people have been working together over the last few weeks to produce resources, discussing things like how do you manage to do personal care safely in a time of corona, to how do you manage PAs when someone may go off sick suddenly. And there are resources that are available online that have come out of those discussions already, at least available in English. I'm pretty certain that other countries in the world have done similar things. And I think you're right, we need to make sure that disabled people are protected in this time of great uncertainty, and we have to acknowledge that we are at greater risk from the virus, unfortunately.
Sorry, I was muted. Exactly what Zara says was correct. That's the situation in Europe. We hear a lot of stories, not only in Europe, but in the USA, in the world, about how the disabled people are on the higher risk at the moment, or how how this affects independent living, how it affects our lives, how we are deprioritize it when comparing to other people. And there is a lot of work on that. I just sent to the chat the ENIL special page dedicated to coronavirus. We created it 2 days ago. And yeah, we collect them a few things. For example, there is a video from Euronews of our members speaking how this is affecting them. And there is also a few links and articles and stuff like that. We are going to launch soon, how you say it, disability, COVID-19 disability rights monitor. And yeah, and he is trying to be as active as possible and to make sure that our rights continue to be protected and address it on the biggest level. We partner with other people, with other members, other organizations like European Disability Forum, which, by the way, has done a lot of work on that, on disability and COVID-19. They have a Q&A page, they have a lot of resources on the website, so there is something happening. Of course, there is still things to be done. Okay, I don't want to bother you much with just speaking. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment or to say something, either by writing or by speaking?
And also, it's okay that you don't necessarily know what to do or how to feel at the moment. We're in a completely novel situation that hasn't really happened in any of our lifetimes. We've only really seen things like pandemics in the movies. So it's okay to not know what to do or to not know what you need right now. But the important thing is, and it's what I guess why Fatma came up with this idea, is that there are other people in similar situations to you that are there and can give support.
Yep, that's true. Let me also paste in the chat box two, in my opinion, useful links. Before I paste the links, there is a message from Raluca. I think it's important to share good practice examples from different countries because we all can benefit. That's true. I'm not the one that I can remember at the moment good practice, but it's a good idea to bring to the attention some of them.
Does anyone have any good practice that they would like to share in this webinar?
Well, one good practice is the webinar we do today and the initiative by the Youth Network to provide some peer support and to bring people closer and to say we are here for each other. So maybe that can count also as a good practice. If anyone else has any good practice or if you have heard things, let us know.
Raluca, would you like to speak what you've written in the chat box, because we can give you talking possibilities if you would like. Okay. We should be able to hear you now.
Hello. A big hi from Romania to everybody who is listening. I said that in Romania, for example, the public administration called phone called people above 65 years old and some people with disabilities to ask if they need help with groceries, which is in times of coronavirus is very useful. Of course, people could choose if they needed the help or not, but I think it's a good example. There are also, we have some, but this is not from public administration. We have some services that you can just go online on one application and you can order groceries that they are coming to your door, let's say. This is also good practice in my point of view. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of examples, but it's a start. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luca. We have similar things in Greece now that you mentioned it. And if people need it, either they are disabled or older people or people in high risk, there are services either by the government, or by volunteering groups of people, the civil society that make sure that they support people in need, which is a good thing to see. I think one other good example is when we see that sometimes the TV is never accessible, but now with the coronavirus, a lot of the programs and the news and the information about coronavirus, they have, in Greece, for example, they have sign language, and I heard in other countries, they have also live captioning and other accessibility features, which is a good step. Things like that, it's also, I think, a positive initiative. Any other idea, guys? Either about it or about whatever you feel comment or to say. Meanwhile, I will paste on the chat box two useful links, I think useful. One is from the report from the ENIL Peer Support Survey in 2016. So you can see more or less what people believe about peer support and how it is working a few years ago. And the other is a training manual on peer support, and it was given in 2014. I see Nina made the comment. Recently, a lot of psychologists started offering their services for free to anyone, also emergency numbers now have a texting system for those who cannot speak. Yeah, that's also a good example. And
I
yeah,
think that somebody was trying to unmute me.
Yep, in case you wanted to say anything else.
Thank you very much. But that was pretty much it. I'm happy that there are some steps such as the texting service now, because in the beginning we had a lot of emergency numbers, not just for medical purposes, but also like for what was mentioned before, groceries and such. But there was no other option other than for people to call and speak. Then someone realized that not everybody can do that. For example, people who are deaf or such could not be able to order groceries and such in that way. So they developed the said texting system for that also.
That's great to hear.
thank you for sharing it. Anyone else would like to add something? Maybe I can ask a question to our speakers, to both Zara and Fatma. So there is an initiative that is kind of planned from Youth Network to support our members and people who would like to get some talk, discussion or peer support with each other. And I would like to, maybe you can give us a little bit more information on, I don't know, what are your next steps with that, or is it something we will announce in the future because it's still under work? Do you have something to announce now, or we need to wait a bit? You need to unmute yourself, whoever is speaking.
Here, about next steps. When we talk about peer support, the next step is that all of you, please, if you or someone you know someone who need to talk with someone, please let us know and we will be there. Also, next step for any other thing, well, let the future show what we will next do, and by then we will do our work in the best way we can. I don't know what Zara thinks about it, and do you have something maybe to add on this? No. So Kamil, you can continue.
Yeah, so Zara seems to be covered. Let me see if there is anyone else raising his or her hand to speak, or if we are okay. Let's give you maybe 1 more minute, some moments to think if you would like to address something else. It can be positive, as we had discussed with examples, but it can be also something which is negative in your lives and your communities, your countries, and you would like to share with us before a very first quick talk.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we will do after this webinar, if Kamil and I are clever enough, is we will share the whiteboard discussion from the start of the webinar, so that you've got a record of what peer support is, and also what makes good and bad peer support. But it might take me and Kamil a little while to work out how to do that.
I also have one more question for all of you. So if you please can answer me on that in the way we can best do our job. So my question is, what do you prefer? Like peer support one-on-one or group peer support? Just in order to make everything as better as we can.
in order to give to people a few seconds and minutes to reply, let me answer to what Zara said. We are clever enough to put the whiteboard to people. I think we have the recording of the webinar, so automatically we have also the whiteboard and the recording. This is a cheating, but it's also working as well. Okay, so Simone is raised. Let me unmute you. Okay, you can now speak.
In our country, we have no practice of group peer support. We have only practice of peer support one-to-one, and it will be interesting to share information about peer support because some people need such service and we have not yet practice.
Okay, thank you for your comment, Simone. I don't know if Fatma or Zara would like to say something on that.
Raluca has posted something in the chat box, so maybe it would be good to hear from her.
I said that it depends on the situation. I think it's a good idea to have group meetings. I mean, for example, we can post one idea tomorrow at 5. We have one group meeting. Who wants to join is free to join, but also to have the possibility to have one-to-one peer support. So you can ask to speak with somebody. So this could be more personalized if you think that it's a more special discussion, but also to share with everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if any of the girls wants to reply or should I say something?
I think you should say something and then I think we should probably wrap up.
Okay, so it covers, I guess, both of the speakers. And also, it's also kind of covering what already Fatma said, in a way that we are here to adapt in a way to, the youth network is here to adapt to the needs of the members and of the people. So if there is a need for, for example, if you think that it's useful to do something like this webinar today, but let's say on a kind of like a group discussion and group peer support, we could set, I don't know, somewhere, every 10 days, every 2 weeks or something, for as long as it's the situation is here, the coronavirus. And also whoever needs one-on-one personal support, they should, of course, contact the person you see here. So either Fatma, Zara, or me, and we can see how it's better to arrange a discussion or a one-on-one discussion and call. And if you have any additional ideas, or I don't know, make something very specific that you think it would be useful for your members or for your colleagues, and to have like a very special, I don't know, call only for a specific region or something, and maybe you would like to facilitate it, or I don't know, any idea you have in your mind, I think we are all here to help with that and to support with our either knowledge or our resources. So feel free always to text us. If you either feel like in need of field support, or if you know someone who will need it, also you can tell them about the Youth Network initiative, and you can also offer yourself for this. We are open to everything, wrapping it up. as long as it's needed. That's why we also did the webinar. From my side, I want, if we don't have any more questions or raised hands, maybe wait 10 to 20 seconds. No one wants to say something additional. There is a comment from Nina. I see. So maybe we can also answer this one. What
So
are your views?
Nina, would you like to say your question?
Okay, thank you. I was asking, what are all of your views on making sure we don't get overwhelmed while providing support for someone else? And
Sorry.
no problem.
I think it's really important that even in these very unusual times, that we all have like life balance, so that even if we cannot go outside, or even if we are limited in what we do, that we all make sure that we have downtime where we might just read a book or listen to some music or play a silly game on the internet. Essentially, your well-being and everyone's well-being emotionally and mentally is as important as your physical well-being. And I think the part of being a good peer supporter is to be able to articulate and say what your limits are and what your boundaries are. And actually, if you feel that you are getting close to the limit of the support you can provide for someone, then it's okay to say no, because you're not going to be any use to anyone if you overwhelm yourself. And I think having a bit of reflection to know what are the signs for you that you are overwhelmed is a good idea. So you can say to people that know you well, if I start to do X, Y, or Z, can you let me know so that I can like make sure I have access to the support that I need and maybe a break. And I think it's more difficult now to know what a break might look like, but there are lots of ways that you can switch off, whether it's a football manager game or going and watching birds from your window. It will be different from each individual, but it's important that you put your mental health and emotional needs as important as our physical health needs at this time.
And two things that we are. It's good to understand that we are here, the three of us, and whoever else wants to join the initiative in any capacity. It's just volunteers and not any professional. We are not psychologists or other stuff. So it's so the idea is that it's just a peer discussion and peer support, and that's also important to understand. So there is no, I don't know, big expectations from neither side, either from a person who wants to be supported or from a person who wants to support others. And as Zara said, if I may rephrase it a bit, we also need to know our boundaries and how much we can help and support, because otherwise, if we over peer support others, we will need peer support ourselves, which is not the idea, I guess. So that's why we are, I don't know, 3, 5, I don't know how many people will be there, and that's and wherever we have any request to support someone, we'll distribute it to someone who has some free time and some who is mentally and physically available at the moment to, or at the dedicated time to speak with the person who who expressed interest of being supported. So it's not that, for example, Fatma will do 24 hours peer support or Zara will do 8-hour marathon peer support, I don't know. That's why we want to have more people so we can kind of divide the request. If we have requests, which we don't really know at the moment, we started now the webinar. When we have the recording next week, we might do a post and say that we also start this kind of, let's call it a service, voluntary service. And if there is requests from people, if there are requests, we'll be happy to see with each other how we can make it work. We don't really, personally, I don't really know how it will work, but we'll see. And yeah, time is 8. So it's already 1 hour from our Skype, our Zoom. We are so used to Skype. So from our Zoom, if there is no any burning comment or something, let me give you 10 seconds just to be sure that there is not something urgent burning that you want to ask or to say. 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. No, that's for another occasion. So there is no question or comment. So on behalf of everyone here, I want to thank everyone for joining today. I think it was a nice webinar. We will record it, we will upload it next week to our social media. And yeah, meanwhile, if you have any ideas, any requests, anything, you know where you can find us. So thank you very much. Have a nice evening. For those of you celebrating Easter on this weekend, happy Easter. For those of you don't celebrating Easter, happy weekend. And we stay in touch. So yeah, thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.